Hello to the two fans and welcome! This is Chicago Ted coming to you with the Sudamerican Master 4. This is group number C, or letter C, I guess would be the proper term to put it. But whatever the case, we've got Not Today taking on Kawaii for this awesome matchup tonight. I am not alone. I am being joined by Android. How you doing?
Hey, doing super good. Very excited to see this matchup. I'm anticipating that Not Today could take out Kawaii, as they did get 0-2'd by 2-kill, another open qualifier team last night, but Kawaii Desune did play very solid, and maybe they can outdraft Not Today here.
Yeah, Not Today is going to definitely be the big team to beat for this one. I believe the only other real competition was Swag, who, of course, was disqualified for not responding and not showing up, so... Not Today should be the Juggernauts, the ones that are going to move on in the top seed. However, Kawaii, they're poising themselves to take a game off them, of course, banning out the Earth Spirit and Enchantress. Not exactly targeted bans, still some general drafting common bans here, but whatever the case, we'll start to see some more specific picks as Not Today. They're going to start out with a Nature's Prophet. First and foremost, that's a pretty interesting one to grab.
Yeah, I mean, Nature's Prophet obviously super in demand. He can constantly apply lane pressure. He can TP wherever he's needed to help out with team fights, to go in for pickoffs, so hopefully Not Today get the space to build him up nice and big. And
yeah.
Oh, Kawaii, they're on their first pick now. We do still have a Vengeful Spirit and Invoker. They're going to opt for an immediate Darkseer Spirit Breaker combo.
Yeah, Darkseer, I mean, he's got the potential to break those trees, so if anyone really gets caught in them, you can try to get him out, but more so, he just offers so many ways to start a team fight or to finish a team fight. He's a skill set. He can be very patient with it, wait for the proper time, and just unleash a devastating combo, which sets up nearly every other AoE spell in the game. Of course, Spirit Breaker, not exactly AoE, but his bashes through the Charge of Darkness can operate very well with that vacuum, pulling them all to get bashed by it, so it could work out fairly well. Of course, we've got an Omni-Knight ban out from Not Today. Kind of an interesting one. Makes me believe that Not are going to start to go, or continue to go, more into this right-clicking style, whereas Kawaii, figuring that Not Today are going to go for an aggressive style, will ban themselves the Chen. So it's looking like Not Today are going to have that greedy jungler not in their pool. Same with the Enchantress. Not really many other heroes, aside from the Enigma, which they can run in that sort of style.
Yeah, absolutely. Not Today. Definitely fearing, or Kawaii Desune actually fearing that, get in, push right away, take down the tower strategy. But that means Not Today are going to get a little more room to push into the late game. I think Nature's Prophet, he could potentially get to be a real problem. And Not Today haven't even picked up their mid or their core yet. So Kawaii, they're banning out the early game, but they still got to watch out for that late game, because Not Today can definitely take this into a team fight meta, especially with Witch Doctor and Nature's Prophet, both notorious for just doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, and I imagine if they are going to go for that late game split push, we're probably going to be seeing something like a Morphling come out. Of course, with the Witch Doctor, that brings to mind the possibility of a Faceless Void. However, that's run more of an offlaner, and Nature's Prophet, I think nowadays he does take that offlane role, so we'll have to see exactly how they're going to run these two in conjunction, or if they're just going to lead the Witch Doctor to his own devices and let him do his own thing. But on the same par as a Morphling pick, we've got a Spectre pick for Kawaii, muddying the waters a little bit as to who will actually take the late game if it gets there, but also introducing a hero that's very good at coming back from a poor start, and that can operate on low amounts of farm, at least for the early game. All you really need is a haunt and a couple of basic items, and you can absolutely ravage heroes like a Nature's Prophet, like a Witch Doctor. Calling back to mind, there is a Tidehunter still in the pool, and he's been a pretty contested pick for the last couple, or at least the last week. I'm surprised, as a Dazzle will be the fourth pick for Kawaii.
I like a Dazzle a lot here. I think Spectre, obviously, once she gets up a couple farming items, if she opts to go for that Radiance, she's fine on her own. She can go for pickoffs and squishy heroes. But for the first couple of levels, they need to make sure that Spectre doesn't farm, that she does not get killed, and that she's secured safe farms. The Dazzle going to be a babysitter here for, I'd say, at least the first 5 or 6 levels.
Yeah, and a very good babysitter at that. All you gotta do again is just wait for that prime opportunity. Keep her alive, keep her set, keep her nice and cozy in her lane, and then boom, Spirit Breaker charging someone, maybe a Nature's Prophet or a Lion, and then all of a sudden the little baby Spectre becomes a monster, which is always fun to watch. But not today. Again, there are plenty of other cores that they can pick up that can take this one late. I bring up the Morphling again, but that's not the only one you can go for. I'm really not sure exactly. Maybe they go for a more aggressive early style and grab a Sven here, or with the Juggernaut banned out, I couldn't see many other cores being viable, but I'm excited to see what they draft.
Would they want to go Ultra Snowball and pick up something risky like maybe a Slark? Because they do have the Lion for lockdown, but we're going to see the mid pickup here. I like that Death Prophet made it this far in the pool. I think she can get in and dominate, but Kawaii Desu still holding their cards and have not picked up a typical mid laner yet.
Yeah, the Death Prophet also will limit a couple of their options for the mid. So right off the bat, they can't get away with something, or at least they'd be very pressed to try to get away with something like a Zeus. I feel like that might have been the direction they were going for, but now with a Death Prophet on the field, that's a really bad pick to grab into a Death Prophet, unless you're looking for your mid to pretty much lose for the first 5 minutes. I don't know, as far as the snowballing goes, you mentioned God, I actually, that Death Prophet caught me off guard. What was the hero you mentioned?
I mentioned a Slark, but I'm actually thinking maybe an Ursa might be the play here for not today. They're going to get great push potential, and if they can get enough lockdown with Nature's Prophet Sprout, with Death Prophet Silence, with Lion Stun, maybe the bear can get up and get dirty.
Ursa, I would have seen both of those working out pretty well. I actually kind of like the Slark against the Spectre for more of a counterintuitive reason. It's you force her to haunt away, and I mean that sets up the kill for someone else on the map. You've got so many other heroes that can solo kill, so I could definitely see the Slark working. The one issue Slark has is even though he's really good at finding pickoffs, none of the heroes on Radiant are easily picked off unless they're way under leveled and they're really far out of position, aside from maybe the Dazzle, but even he can get a Shallow Grave and then a TP out unless you've got more helping, which is not really the way Slark operates. So I could see the Slark working, but he'd have to get really far ahead, and Not Today would have to use a 4P1 strategy for the first 5 or 6 minutes to make sure everyone stays under leveled so the Slark can find those picks and can fight effectively. Not Today will ban out the Zeus, though. Surprisingly enough, I guess figuring Zeus is an adequate matchup against the Death Prophet, which, in my opinion, it is more of a toss-up. I do think the Zeus kind of loses that lane, but others say differently, so I can't put it past them. But as far as other mids they can pick up, they can't go for the OD, it's banned out. They could try to pull themselves off with an Invoker, which may
What about a
be
Quap?
good. A Quap could be good. A Quap could be very good, especially with the Darkseer. Vacuum wall into the Sonic Wave, and then have the Spectre haunt and clean up. That could work. That could very well work,
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking here for Kawaii's lineup, because everyone else has awesome escape. You've got the Spectre haunt out, you've got the Dazzle, just, Grave and TP, or he could be a Sacrificial Lamb, that's fine. Spirit Breaker, obviously charging. Darkseer Surgeon, they're going to go for a Lina, though. I think this is going to fare pretty well up against Death Prophet just because of that awesome range from her auto attack, and obviously the Dragon Slave has some nice damage on that. But if Lena's caught out of position here, if she's caught out by maybe a Lion, rotating Lion, or a rotating Witch Doctor, then Death Prophet can kill Lena very easily.
Yeah, the Lion Witch Doctor combo, the only thing we're missing is the Wardrobe, because that gank is incredibly powerful, and when you do go in, as you said, if Lena gets a little bit out of position, Light Strike Array might try to save her, but it's all going to be for naught, because they just do so much damage between the three of them. Even the Nature's Prophet can TP in as well. So Lena, she will have a decent lane, an easier lane, but I don't think she's going to have too much of a fun time with that roaming combo. The Phantom Lancer will be the pick, though. I'm honestly surprised, and I keep forgetting about this guy, usually because I feel like he's a little bit of a weak hero at the moment, but I gotta say, it's not that terrible here. The only thing I'm worried about is if he gets a little bit too far ahead, the Darkseer's illusion of him will probably be really scary to deal with.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think in terms of drafting, I gotta give this one to Kawaii. I think Not Today might be able to execute just a little bit cleaner. They're a higher tier team. They've got just a little bit more experience here, but I think Kawaii, they have a lot of survivability, so as long as they just don't die going into the late game, the Spectre has the potential to be huge. So I think it's going to come down to, can Not Today get off some nice early game rotations and shut down the lanes? If Not Today win all 3 lanes, they totally got this, but if Kawaii get a good lane for the Spectre, a good lane for the Lina, heck, if they get Darkseer some levels early, that's going to be really difficult for Not Today to fight into.
Yeah, this is all going to really come down to how well Nightmare and Jericho can rotate around and win their lanes for their allies, because even though Death Prophet is a hero that can tend to win their lane on her own, Perfect, I imagine it's just short for perfect, and Vengus, they don't deal all that well in solo lanes. So Nightmare and Jericho, all eyes on them. Wherever they're going to be, the action is going to break out, and that is going to be as really important, as you said, because Kawaii, all they've got to do is last 15 minutes without dying, and they just win every team fight. They have a lineup that can get a lot of farm, but doesn't entirely need a lot of farm. Armageddon, all he needs to do is get out his mechanism. Whether he goes for Greaves fast or not, I mean, that comes a little bit later, but Love Me Forever will just need to haunt in at that point, and you've got a combo between the Darkseer, the Lina, and Agi on the Spirit Breaker that is really tough to beat. So, yep, I totally agree. Win the lanes if you're Not Today, because if you break even or fall behind by the 15-minute mark, the game isn't going to last another 10.
Absolutely. So, just down to draft again. I love Kawaii here. I'm excited to see what the first couple of minutes hold, because I think that's going to be really telling for the pace of the rest of the game. If we have a stomp, or if we have a real serious competition here from one of the open qualifier teams.
And we're looking for that serious competition. We want the good games, the action-packed, close games. But whatever the case, guys, if you're just joining us, this is going to be Not Today taking on Kawaii. It is a 2-game series. This is the first of the 2 of them. I'm Chicago Ted. Joining me is Android and Lurkaderp, all the way from the Standard Deviant Stats. Thank you very much for joining us, dropping the knowledge throughout. So, looking like this game starting out with a pretty even split on the runes. We've got the 3 down bottom from Kawaii, holding out for that one. Top is Not Today. And it looks like Vengus might be the one to get it. Nah, they're definitely giving this one to Travis Scott. I don't see them giving it any other way. Interesting to note, Love Me Forever is going to get the bottom rune, or no, Yojo's coming in. Okay, I was wrong on both of them. Nice, I like that.
Yeah, I think we're going to go mid for mid here, the very standard build.
Yep.
Up top, we did see a little bit of funky stuff going on with the wards. Dyer had an Observer ward here on this cheeky cliff spot, right over this little guy here. And then Darkseer went in, used a sentry, gobbled it down with a tango. But Not Today were waiting for that. They went in and placed another sentry, took down the wards. So overall, a little bit of gold go in the way of Armageddon, but now he loses that vision and he knows that Dyer can see him. Or he thinks that Dyer can see him. He doesn't know that there's not another Observer up there.
Yeah, it's a weird kind of circumstance here, because, yeah, they got both of those D wards. The vision's important, but it also is interesting that they put their wards there in the first place. I think Kawaii, a definite kind of loss right there. And they really needed that ward for something like the mid game, or the mid lane, because this is going to be a heavily contested lane. Yojul is going to have a lot of trouble dealing with this, so I would imagine the mid ward would have been a little bit better, as it seems Travis Scott has one of his own, and they're going to have perfect idea of where Yojul is this entire time. Jericho even putting some pressure on him. Agi did charge bottom, though, to put a little bit of added pressure down there, but it's looking like none of the lanes are erupting too much. Yojul's has taken a steady amount of harass, and Perfect is just kind of holding back.
I think if I had to put some money on it, I think Dazzle's going to fall, just because he did opt to skill that Poison Touch first, so he's not healing up, only 1 tango left, and we saw just the Nature's Prophet right-clicks getting him down to about 25% HP a little bit earlier. So unless Guayo finds some really awesome levels in the next couple of minutes, it's going to be dirty. But mid lane looks like Yohol going to be taking a lot of damage. Going to go with the Light Strike Array. There's a charge coming out on Travis Scott. Yohol going to be eating up the Fairy Fire and should be just fine.
Yeah, he actually might be able to turn this one around. The charge comes in from Agi, lock him in place. They need the Light Strike Array, but they couldn't quite find enough time. Can they get a Sprout? No, as it looks like Travis Scott going to turn this one around. Yojul taking some damage from Perfect, but he is away, alive. The Earth Spike coming through, but only will hit onto Agi. Just barely misses the Lina, which would have certainly been a kill had it connected. So a bit of a missed opportunity there, though. Well placed regardless. No kills will come of it, but certainly very, very close. I think that Light Strike Array kind of mishap ruined the kill attempt for Yojul, but also may have saved his life, considering he could have dived a little bit too far had it connected.
Now it looks like, oh, Satyr neutral creep, whacking down Guayo, getting him down to half health, combined with a couple of clicks there from the Nature's Prophet. So Dazzle, he's got to play really safe, does opt to pick up Shadow Wave for his second level.
Yeah,
Up
that's going
top,
to be very
though,
important.
this
Yeah,
is
they
a
are going to
very
converge.
aggressive Darkseer.
I don't know if he's going to die here. I mean, they get the Earth Spike after the Surge, and okay, I guess the Coconut is enough to bash his face in. They're going to get the first blood down. Armageddon will take the hit. I'm not totally sure that should have been a kill there, but at the same time, we talked about Jericho and Nightmare making their rotations and finding those kills to secure their lanes. It's going to be what is important about this one is the Surge, or at least the Spirit Siphon in with the Sprout. Of course, Travis Scott now charged up, the Fairy Fire healing him, the Spirit Siphon once again proving to be too much. He'll turn around with a Crypt Swarm and bring down Agi. 2 will go down in this mid lane, and Kawaii, I mean, this is exactly what couldn't happen, but what can happen if you're not keeping an eye on these rotations. A perfect rotation in to help out with that kill.
Absolutely. I think Spirit Breaker there overestimated his strength and underestimated how awesome the Spirit Siphon spell is, and what a low cooldown for that too. So
Yep.
Death Prophet feeling really comfortable in the mid lane, not the last hit leader, but certainly feeling great about those 2 kills against the Lina, who was 0-1.
Yeah, and Spirit Siphon being a charge-based skill too is ridiculously strong. I mean, in conjunction with that Sprout, the best thing about Spirit Siphon is you've got a better movement speed on the Death Prophet. Usually, you can outmaneuver your opponent. But when you've got a Sprout to lock him in place for nearly the entire duration of the Siphon, there's nothing you can really do about it. So Kawaii have to pick and choose their fights a little bit more carefully. It's come down to a lane that Lina can win, but she needs a little bit more damage, a lot more burst,
Ooh, here
and
we
a little
go.
help. Yep, another Sprout, and they actually have a Hex because Jericho's there as well. I mean, it looked like Agi wanted to help, but he was too far away. Considering too far away is only a couple hundred units, that's just a fantastic amount of power that this Not Today lineup has over Kawaii as
Double damage
Yeah.
on her now. That is dirty right now. Not Today, not showing any mercy for this mid lane. Lina's going to be hurting, and that was a lane that Kawaii needed to win in order to stop the pressure. So now Death Prophet, she's level 6 already at 4 minutes in the game, and she's going to feel like she's okay to start pushing some towers real soon. And at this point, I don't know what Kawaii are going to do to stop her. Yeah, maybe they charge in, but then she just Spirit Siphons off the Spirit Breaker and gets another kill.
Yeah, she's got another one up already too because of that whole charge thing. It's like all she does is pop the double damage. She can tear down that tier 1 and just a couple of seconds time. I mean, I'm guessing maybe 10 to 15 seconds is all he needs of alone time with that tier 1. And that's one gank. Yoljo decides to go up to the top lane to try to find a kill, or to the bottom lane and bring down Perfect. He loses his tower, so he has no option to gank at all. He's got to hang in close by, and most of the action then gets focused here in the mid, which benefits Travis a lot as they're trying to get a TP in, but it's not going to come through. Now Armageddon gets a surge off. They get the Earth Spike. Maximum rage, though, and the Sprout will connect. However, Agi comes through. The Paralyzing Cask will stop him mid-charge, though. Now he's on the run, but he's way too slow. They'll bring him down, or at least get him close. The Shallow Grave going to help him, but the Earth Spike will lock him in. Says, you ain't going anywhere. And, one more caught in the trees. They'll bring him down Guai, or at least get him low. Paralyzing Cask will come, and that is enough. However, in comes Armageddon once again. He wants to try to find some vengeance onto Venges, but it looks like this Phantom Lancer is a little bit too far away for him. Of course, there is a charge, but it's coming all the way from downtown as Travis Scott, in the meantime, brings down Yoljo in the mid with that double damage popped. I mean, this is a disaster of epic proportions right now. Kawaii, they have not gotten a single kill, and they've dropped 8. And maybe they drop more. Venges in the top. Actually, he'll go down on the opposite side. Kawaii, they get their first kill in kind of awkward fashion.
It's something, though. I mean, anything
Yeah.
is great, especially getting down the Phantom Lancer. That's crucial, but it's, again, the kill score tells a story here. It's 1 and 8, and I'd say all of the lanes are not going so well here for Kawaii. Down bottom, Spectre's doing pretty well in terms of last hitting. She's near the top of the board. She's getting her items. Does have the treads now, does have the Basilius, so it's not all lost, but I honestly don't know if Kawaii can hold this out long enough to get to the late game to have Spectre be impactful.
I, you don't need the late game for Spectre to be impactful, though. She's getting very close to the items she does need to at least fight early. She doesn't seem to be going for that fast Urn of Shadows build. Instead, it's going to be the Poor Man's Shield Akla, though. The three are not mutually exclusive, so she might be getting the Urn afterwards. But, yep, the Haunt will come in. They want Travis. This is a big kill, and they get it! Although Armageddon will solidify that one with the Ion Shell, it is still very worth it, as 430 gold goes to him, and I imagine 200 or so will go to the rest of the supporting cast in there. And that is the Akala now completed on Love Me Forever. And all he needs is 800 or so gold, and he can continue just straight up fighting like that every couple of minutes. And it's really tough to stop a Spectre at this point. You just got to go full on in and kill her over and over, or she'll get her farm and she'll become scary.
Yeah, I mean, with all the aggression thrown out here by Not Today, they haven't been focusing the Spectre. The Nature's Prophet been focusing more on ganking the other lanes, so Spectre's had not so much pressure exerted. It's all on her shoulders right now, as the rest of Kawaii have been having a very tough time.
Yeah, it's interesting to note that she is sitting at the highest CS in the game. She hasn't had the most contested lane, but that puts her up on the second on the net worth. After that one gank securing that spot, I mean, this is incredibly important for Kawaii, if they're even going to hope to take this game, is keep the Spectre near or at the top, and they're doing it, which is really a huge issue for Not Today. However, it doesn't put them in the grave. We talked about how they needed to win their lanes, and they did. So it's not like an inevitable defeat with this Spectre getting farmed.
Man.
But
Armageddon.
Yeah.
He's trying to get out, but that cast is too much. He just bops right back to the fountain. Now mid lane, we're going to have a chase here on Guayo. The Spirit Siphon connecting. Man, that is a long range. He has to pop the defensive grave. There's going to be a TP in by Yohol, but Exorcism is spent. There's another charge from the Spirit Siphon. My goodness. Helena falls again. Death Prophet ain't scared of nothing right now.
I mean, he was expecting to just get his combo and turn around and blow her up, but they were not expecting Jericho to be right there with a perfectly timed Earth Spike. Another one in for Agi, and they will haunt in. Are they going for a kill anywhere? It looks like he can't quite find one. So a haunt will be wasted, now 110 seconds on cooldown. And a huge, huge fight for Not Today to take as they continue to solidify one hell of a lead for the first 10 minutes of the game. And as I was saying, I mean, this isn't a death sentence if the Spectre's farming. It's kind of tough to deal with, but you keep the other lanes winning like this, and it's going to be a lot easier to keep the Spectre down.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it's going to be pretty much 100% on her shoulders going into the mid-game. If you look at Kawaii, 3 of them don't even have their ultimates yet. Spirit Breaker, Darkseer, and Dazzle are all, Darkseer's level 6, but he hasn't chosen to skill that ulti just yet. Maybe holding on for more points in vacuum. There is going to be a deny here in the mid, so at least that little chunk of gold not going to be going the way of Not Today for now, but it's looking grim. They're losing more and more map advantage, and Not Today are feeling more and more comfortable taking these fights.
Yeah, my one issue for Not Today is the fact that I personally am not a huge fan of the Phantom Lancer pick. Usually, I just don't see it have as much of an impact as they need it to have, especially when you're thinking about a hero like a Spectre, who could easily fight the PL early game, but he is getting, I think he's going to be going for that Diffusal Blade fast pickup.
Spectre.
Oh, yeah, we're going to see the bottom lane. She's getting chased down the Earth Spike through the tree. She is a fish, but not so much longer. Is able to walk away for now. Guayo's there if they need the shallow grave, and maybe a little bit too late as Travis Scott kind of zooms in on past and goes straight now for Armageddon, who is trapped. No TP, is just going to have to try to man fight this one up, deal as much damage as possible, because there's no way he's getting away from this one. And the writing on the wall proves to be true as Vengus takes a decently sized stack inside of Kawaii's jungle right underneath their noses. And more attrition being hurt on the side of Kawaii as Not Today solidify even further the lead and even knock Spectre down now to the 3rd spot on the net worth, behind, which is huge, behind Vengus.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Again, the Spectre needs to be the saving grace of the Radiant. I mean, she's not feeding. She still has no deaths, but It's looking grim. Now, up top, we are going to see Love Me Forever try to do what she can onto the Nature's Prophet, but he's able to TP out. She's got nothing to break that just yet, and, I mean, she's flying solo. She doesn't have her support crew. She's just trying to scrap together some farm. So, I guess the Spectre's not dying. That's great, but the rest of the team, where do they go? How do they be the most impactful?
Well, Darkseer's got to get this mechanism up. Like, that is on the top of the list for him. Doesn't really have much more than the headdress completed. He did go for the arcane boots first, so it's really a big issue that they need to fight. Like, in 3 minutes, they've got to fight. That's the timer that their team fight becomes one of the strongest, and Not Today won't be able to deal too much with it, but without that mechanism, that impedes that progress a lot. Agi has gone for the urn instead, actually, where you've got a little bit of a fight, skirmish even, as Love Me Forever is going to be able to bring down Nightmare. The Haunt, though, kind of going back and forth as it does scout out the Roshan. However, it doesn't seem like Kawaii are going to make too much of a move to go and contest it, rather use this time to get a little bit of farm. But as mentioned, the urn will be built by the Spirit Breaker, so Love Me Forever isn't going to go for that, instead diving straight for what seems to be the Radiance build-up. Yuljo, that Yule is going to be pretty important, but also upgrading his boots is going to be as Love Me Forever. They've got the Finger of Death, and that is going to be his first death, proving that this Spectre is not unkillable and nowhere even close to that, as she falls victim to one hell of an orchestrated gank, and a defusal now completed on Vengus.
Wow, we haven't talked a whole lot about the Phantom Lancer just because he has been kind of doing his own thing, not so much sticking with the crew, but now we're going to see him start to have a big impact. That Diffusal Blade can work some magic, as a lot of Kawaii are very mana dependent, so just the passive mana burn is going to be hurting pretty bad.
Oh yeah, and you would add that to the slows, which they've got double stun, they've got a slow already on PL, they've got the Sprout for lockdown, and a hero that benefits from mass slows and stuns on the Death Prophet. So it really is the team fight from Kawaii. That's the stronger team fight if it's on par with Not Today or ahead. But right now, by how far they're behind, yep, they're immediate TP into the Earth Spike. Love Me Forever now getting caught. There's a Sprout to follow up. They have everything, and they're going to bring him down. They even pop the Death Ward for good measure, as the Paralyzing Cask is stunning Armageddon and Yojo way back behind it. But the second death in almost a minute for the Spectre. I mean, if that's not bad news, I don't know what is.
I have some serious questions about that TP. They knew that Dire were there, they knew they had their ultimates, but yet Spectre TP'd under the tower that was under siege. It seemed like that was a recipe for getting punished, and Not Today, well, they followed through.
Yep, and now they've got Exorcism up in 5 seconds, plus a little bit of extra mana. Looks like they are going to back off for now, though. Not going to push high ground just yet. It looks like they're still building up some of their more important items. Not a single one seems to have the mechanism completed yet. There is a Blade Mail on Perfect. Not exactly the item build I figured he was going to be going for, but hey, it's worked in the past. Why not now? It's just going to make him harder and harder to kill, but as far as high ground pushes go, they don't quite have the item builds to do so. Rather, they're more of a scrappy lineup that'll go better after the tier 2 towers and the other objectives. So looking at it right now, it looks like Not Today are just going to try to starve out Kawaii, and with a Yule's now on Travis, they're going to try to chase after Yuljo. They get him with the Spirit Lance. He drops pretty low. Almost want to drop the Shallow Grave, but they don't do so just yet, as Agi drops a little bit too fast for even Guayo to react. Wow, I mean, Scrappy is as Scrappy does.
This is really making Kawaii hurt. We said that maybe Kawaii had the potential to have stronger lanes, but at this point, we're transitioning this is barely into the mid-game here in just terms of standard timings. Down bottom, we've got a TP in. Love Me Forever might end up falling. Finger of Death is busted as Perfect hops in, gets the kill for that one. This is really unfortunate. It's going to come down to Spectre versus Phantom Lancer, and at this point, Phantom Lancer is just so much bigger. Taking a look at the overall XP and gold graph, we are tipping into 14,000 net worth advantage for Not Today. Is that just insurmountable at this point?
Very close to. I don't think it's a quite unbeatable lead, though I think statistics prove me wrong. It's one of those that, again, you've got the Spectre and you've got a team fight. But she needs to be, as we pointed out earlier, she needs to be close to the top of that net worth. And even though she's the top of her team, the 4th spot isn't going to
Ooh.
cut it. 2,100
Aki.
gold with no Radiance, and yeah, they're going to try to charge in, maybe take a fight, but it's looking like they can't quite follow up on what appeared to be a decent initiation. So Kawaii still holding back, though Jericho and Nightmare, they're going to go behind their tier 2 even and start this one from the inside out. This could be trouble if they find a 1 or 2 man Earth Spike into the paralyzing cast, but a deep TP. They'll get one. They get Guayo. The shallow grave is going to be down before the fight even starts. Now Agi taking a little bit too much damage. The 3 will get blown up. They still get the wall of replica down though, which is important. It means that not today. They can't push comfortably for the next couple of our next few seconds, but that's not going to last forever. And I almost imagine they just run right through it or run around it, I guess.
Yeah, as long as the creep wave's not there, they can juke through it. I think the only one not beefy enough to do that right now is Travis Scott, and he's just going to wait till the wall expires. Nah, he'll just skirt right around it. Everyone else can kind of take their own illusions, and now we're going to be breaking high ground at 17 minutes. We've got an Exorcism. Travis Scott actually taking a lot of damage, maybe looking to burn that Aegis the Immortal that's going to be running out. We have a charge here onto Jericho. He's still feeling healthy.
Yeah, the Aegis will run out as the Spirit Siphon's going. He's healing up quite a bit, but now will run out of that one. As the Haunt comes through, they're trying to make some hand damage happen, but it's not really happening. Travis, though, he's dropping low. They get him with the Laguna. Although the rest of them are still alive and kicking. Kawaii down too. Not today, only down their Death Prophet. Her Exorcism was ending soon anyways. Yojo is going to be a little bit of time before he's got another Laguna Blade. They're going to go straight onto him, try to bring him down in the meantime. Paralyzing cast through and through. He gets a Light Strike Array, connects onto 2, onto 3 even, but it's not going to make a difference. He does have buyback, so too does Darkseer. But it looks like these racks might just go down. Vengus's end, the charge will come through. The buyback onto Yojo. He's trying to follow up, but the Earth Spike comes, catches 3. The Finger of Death will clean up Guayo. It might not go unpunished, though, as Jericho stops and smells the roses as the bash hits him from behind. The racks will stand, but the buybacks have been used, or at least the one onto Yojo. Not today. They weren't punished too hard for that one, only losing 2 over the scope of that fight.
Yeah, it's still something, though. I wasn't expecting Kawaii to be able to hold. I thought that might just be the GG push. Not today might be too big, but the kill on the Death Prophet was huge. I think a lot of that came down to the Aegis expiring, and her regen from the Aegis was cancelled before her mana filled all the way up, so she was hurting a little bit from that. And again, a big kill here. Kawaii maybe trying to find a window, but again, looking at the overall gold and XP, it's still well over 10,000 in both cases.
Yeah, it's still really tough to come back from, but you take a look, they've at least evened it out right now, which is a hard enough feat as it is. To pull it back is going to be an incredible feat, but whether or not they can do it has yet to be determined. If that push leads anything to the imagination, would think that the next one coming through will tear down the racks, but if Kawaii take another trade like that, then they might be able to do a little bit better for the next push, and hey, even protect some of their buildings that time around, which would be huge. As the charge comes in, they might bring down Perfect. He's going to pop the Blade Mail, which helps him a bit, deal some return damage, but he is going down. Gets the Wrath of Nature out to maybe try to get a return kill, but Love Me Forever gets 840 gold. Travis Scott going to find the Courier, but that is a Radiance completed. Now Agi might be the collateral here, but well worth it to secure a Radiance pickup on your Spectre. 20 minutes in for a game like this is not too bad. However, she is still only about 1,000 hit points with 13 armor. An above average Radiance is still on a hero that can get blown up very, very quickly.
Yeah, with how far Kawaii are behind, I'm really surprised that Spectre managed to scrap together the farm for that. That's well timed. That's above average for the patch, and she can start fighting. She can start hitting hard, but again, against an Exorcism, she's so squishy. She doesn't have that tank ability. Vanguard definitely fallen out of style, but I think she needs something to help her survive.
Yep, the Exorcism is coming through behind you, and that's tearing down that racks, as we said. They might be able to fight, but it's going to be after their buildings already go down. Travis Scott, the Haunt will come through. He was the target of the charge, but Love Me Forever, he's switching targets left and right, can't decide. Decides on the Nightmare, who already gets his death ward off, Can he make something happen with that? I don't know. As Guayo, he gets brought down on his own high ground. Armageddon, so too will fall. Love Me Forever. The Radiance is hurting, but not enough apparently. Travis Scott spirit siphoning him down. Now we'll turn on to Agi, and they get him a buyback from Love Me, but will it be a dieback? They can't let it happen, but it might just. In comes the Crypt Swarm. The damage is there, but they need a little bit more. One more Crypt Swarm in 2 seconds, but he's got to back himself off. The Death Ward's behind, or at least the Wall of Replica, rather, is behind. There is going to be an Earth Spike stopping the chase, and not today. They're backing off as the racks will fall, as we said, but a decent trade. They only lose the, they don't lose the Death Prophet again, and Vengus still staying alive as he goes for the Manta style now, which has been completed and is carting out to him.
Yeah, take a look at the overall net worth breakdown. We've only got the Spectre on the side of the Radiant straggling herself up, climbing above the dire supports just barely. But again, Death Prophet, Phantom Lancer, and the Nature's Prophet are all well above her. And taking a look at the gold deficit, over 20,000 now at 20 minutes in the game. That's about a 1k lead per minute.
Yeah, it's crazy right now. It's going to get worse and worse as that buyback hurt Love Me Forever so much. Not only did he lose a lot of gold from that, but he also lost the gold from farming for the next couple of minutes that he was taking part in. So even though he does have 1,000 gold, it's a lot less than where it was. Now Jericho could be in a bit of trouble. I have no doubts he goes down here, but whether or not they get a trade is left to be determined. Actually, he'll turn it around. They get the Finger of Death perfect in from behind. And the dieback leads into the immediate GG as Kawaii, they had nothing left in the tank after that one. So we will move on to the second game very shortly. But for this first one, break it down. I think we all have a decent idea of what went down. But ultimately, where do you think Kawaii went wrong?
I think they had a stellar draft, but when it came down to it, Death Prophet ruled the mid. Really great rotations from Not Today's supports as well, and Spearbreaker was trying hard to charge all over the place, but there wasn't the damage to secure him the kills that, made those rotations necessary. It was just kind of like, he running around like a chicken with his head cut off and not getting anything out of it, so he became underleveled, and of course his support was missing from the lane, so the rest of the lanes got punished. I think mid was the real bloodbath. It was all on Spectre's shoulders because she was, I wouldn't say winning bottom, but she was getting what she needed out of it. It just wasn't enough to compete with that free farm Phantom Lancer. So again, Not Today take a very convincing victory. I want to give MVP to Travis Scott because Spirit Siphons up the wazoo, securing him kill after kill, ended the game at 13-2-5.
Alright, so that game is over. The next one will come up very shortly, guys. I'm Chicago Ted. Joining me is Android and Lurkaderp. Stick around. Don't change that channel because more Sudamerican will be coming up next.